This feels strange, this one. How are we doing, my love?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
For those that
Yeah.
don't know, this is my partner, Jayleigh. So slightly different episode today because your story and everything you're going to be talking about, I already know. Well, at least most of it, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah. And for those wondering why we're doing this on camera, because we do actually live together, but you are currently staying at your auntie's house for a week, dog sitting.
Dog sitting. Yeah.
Yes. So it would be a good opportunity to do this. But how are you? I haven't seen you in 12 hours.
It's been 12 hours. It feels like forever.
The house is already a mess. I don't know what to do.
I haven't slept, that's for sure.
You not? Why?
No.
Does it feel weird?
Yeah, it's weird. When you sleep next to someone every night for few years now, to then not be sleeping next to that person, it's very strange.
Yeah, I mean, we've been living together now for what, 2 years? 2.5 years? We've had our own place since August. Yeah. And then we got, August 20.
Yeah, I'd say 2.5.
2.5 years? 2.5 years living together, so.
Yeah.
And we haven't murdered each other yet.
Still time.
What do you mean by that? Who do you think would be more likely to murder each other? Probably shouldn't be talking about murder, but you're definitely more likely to take me down.
I'd be on that program, like Women Who Snap.
100%. Yeah. They would make a Netflix documentary on you.
Yeah. Be a good documentary, though.
Yeah, it really would. I think if you had a biopic, who would play you? Like if you had a movie.
I don't know.
I've never really thought about this.
No, I haven't.
I feel like Jude Law would play me.
I'm awful with actors' names, so this is like a really difficult question.
I don't
know anyone.
I'm terrible with British actors' names. Jude Law is the only one that came to my mind.
See, I know the name, but I can't put the face and the name together.
I think you'd have quite a good. Who's the lady that plays? Who's like the main character in Les Mis? Who shaves her hair? Oh God. Oh God, yeah, you don't need to shave your hair.
Because she shaves her hair.
No, it's just in that role she shaves her hair. Oh, what's her name? She's such a good actor.
Oh, is it? It's not. No, it's not Anne Hathaway, is it?
Anne Hathaway, yeah, it's Anne Hathaway, yeah. I think Anne Hathaway will play a good you.
Do you think?
Yeah. Well, she looks like all innocent and chill, but she could definitely murder a bitch. She's got it in her.
It's there. I always describe myself as a volcano, just simmering under the surface. Just one day it's gonna.
Oh, there's not one day. It does come out occasionally, pretty frequent
it's just
in our
mini
life.
eruptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like a catastrophic eruption, you know.
I mean,
little warning signs.
If I were a city in this relationship, I would be Pompeii. But for those that don't know you, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself?
My name's Jayleigh. I'm an SEND teaching assistant. I'm training to be a nail technician. I do ASMR content.
You do it all.
What else? I do it all.
You literally dabble in everything.
It's ADHD.
We won't jump into that just yet, but
no.
You are undiagnosed ADHD. I believe, anyway. Then again, everyone seems to think they're ADHD now. I feel like it became a bit of a
trend,
yeah.
Yeah.
But your dad
But
had
there
it.
is a lot of.
Your sister definitely
My
has
dad
it.
was the epitome of ADHD. My
Yeah.
sister is the epitome of ADHD.
Yeah.
It's very strong in my family.
Yeah.
My cousins, both cousins, severely autistic.
Oh, really? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Oh, no, I did know that. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
recently diagnosed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have a sprinkletism, for sure, as well.
Oh yeah, especially around food.
Mouthfeel and texture and all that.
Oh yeah.
I never realized that was such a big thing for people with autism until maybe like a year ago.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
so
it's
much more.
huge.
But
And it's not just mouthfeel, it's like hand feel as well, like just any kind of texture.
yeah. Which you've kind of always been funny about with that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain things I just it like just thinking about it makes me cringe. Like actually makes me feel sick.
You've always had like a bit of a thing with like the squishy toys as well, like is it sensory
Yeah,
things?
I like the what are they called? Like just squishy toys. We'll just go with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
squishy
yeah.
toys. Like every other day, I'll get home from work and there'll be like a box from TikTok Shop of just like, oh, squishy toy. But no, why don't you? So apart from that, what do you do with what's been going on in the life of Jayleigh? How did we meet? Tell people how we met.
We met through Twitch. So we
Weirdly
met through
enough,
a friend on Twitch. Through gaming.
super niche,
Yeah.
super niche. So like, I'm actually all in purple as well. That's weird. Um,
How strange.
how strange. Yeah. So what was it like? End of 2021, two? I can't remember. I think it was
We've
an
been
end of
together just over 3
2021.
years.
Yeah. But we knew each other for a good like 6-7 months before then.
Yeah, we were like friends for quite a while.
Yeah, so we met through streaming. I had very recently got into content and things like that. I think we met within like my first month of being like starting to Twitch
Yeah.
stream. Like I wasn't even affiliated yet. And I was
Yeah.
just like, what is this whole new world? And you'd been streaming, you were like a Call of Duty streamer predominantly, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you were in certain communities and things like that. And
hmm
was it Ali? It was Panda, right?
Panda, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
our good friend Ali, I think I was playing with him because he was one of
Yeah,
the first people I met.
you were playing online. You was on the game and I was in his chat. And I was just having banter with everyone in the chat.
Yeah, so you could
And
hear me talking and stuff like that, what like during the
yeah.
games, but I couldn't hear you, just what you were typing.
Yeah.
And then you were like, this guy is actually hilarious. Like
Yeah, all right. You were funny. You were funny.
Elam. What were your first impressions of me?
I just thought you were funny. I just thought you were hilarious.
Yucks. That's it.
And
To be
and
fair, you didn't.
a bit of a piss taker.
Me?
Which is why
Of,
I felt like
of
we
course.
connected as friends.
Yeah, because you are a massive piss taker.
Huge.
Yeah. You definitely get that from your dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we didn't know what each other looked like at first, did we? We'd only heard each other through gaming, really. Like it was
Yeah.
very weird not trying to meet someone in the slightest at
No,
all.
you just became like my best friend.
Hmm.
We were like best friends, and it was just like it was one of those. If I was jumping online, I wouldn't even think twice to not ask you.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
like
it
if
got
you were
to a
on, I was
point.
on.
Is that sorry?
It's like if you were on, I was on, like playing together.
Yeah. It got to a point where it felt weird not playing with each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it
On the
was.
game.
You had to make it weird, didn't you? Oh, damn
Sorry.
it. Fuck's sake. No, yeah, it was weird because I was like a really low point in my life. Then I just ended the only serious relationship I had
Mhm.
had. I had 6 years, and I was in like literally the lowest point of my life.
Yeah.
And it was like content and gaming and that kind of thing was kind of keeping me occupied in that. And I was very, very like a newborn baby to my healing, and I only really just understanding what mental health was or is, and the
Yeah.
effects of. I, I don't like to say I was in an abusive relationship, but at times it felt like that. It had traits.
Yeah. From it sounded very toxic, whether it was abusive or
Mm,
not, but it was very
yeah, toxic,
toxic.
not abusive. Sorry, not yeah. No,
Yeah.
I wasn't in an abusive relationship. It was a toxic relationship, and I think we were both just so immature in not really knowing how to communicate, process feelings, and all that. And yeah, I think I kind of I was drawn to you because you were maybe about a year removed from pretty much the same situation, right?
Yeah, so
So
mine
talk
was
me through that.
abusive. So I was in an abusive relationship. Um, it was mainly mental. It was a lot of mental abuse. Um, but it did go into the physical abuse a few times. Enough to cause a lot of trauma.
Hmm.
um, yeah, it was like 6 years. I was in it for 6 years. Very traumatic relationship. And then yeah, when we met, I was about a year. It was about mm,
Just under?
I would say about 8 months.
Yeah.
About 8 months when we
Hmm.
became friends. Um, since I'd kind of left and started working on myself and trying to deal with all of that trauma. So
I mean, do you want to dive into that? Do you want
yeah,
to
we can
talk
go into
about
it.
that? Like, obviously, for 6 years, you were with someone, you were living together, you had your own, like, you had your house together, you had a cat. Um, where, like, how long into it, or when did it start going? Like, did you notice, like, there's some weird signs here, some red flags?
I would 6 months in, which is sounds crazy, and even to me, I think to myself, I was with that person for 6 years, but at 6 months, I nearly walked away.
Hmm.
Literally, nearly walked away, sat them down, and was just like, I can't do this anymore. Because even at that point, it was very mentally taxing.
Hmm.
It was like I was into gaming then, um, being a COD player. Majority of the people that I was friends with were guys. Growing up, I had a friendship group that were all guys. We were just big nerds that would just play games, and like I was the only girl in the group, but they all treated me like I was just a sister. Like I was. There was
One of the
one.
dudes.
Yeah, there was one guy that I'd literally grown up since birth. We were born around the same time, grew up in the same building like block. Like we were basically siblings.
Hmm.
um and it got to a point where I couldn't talk to a guy without him kicking off and being like, "Oh, you're cheating on me, you're cheating on me, you're cheating on me." And it got to a point he would never be like, "You can't be friends with them," or "Stop being friends with that person." But me, it would do it in a way so that it would make me be like, well, if I was a good girlfriend, I'd stop being friends
Hmm.
with that person because it's upsetting him. So I would cut friendships off
Yeah.
to the point where I had no one but him. Looking back now, I'm like, that's such a huge, huge red flag. Like that's one of the first, like, of a narcissistic kind of abusive relationship. That's what they do. They cut you off from everyone.
Hmm.
And within 6 months, he'd cut me off from all of my friends, and I hadn't even
Isolated.
realized it.
Yeah.
Like, didn't even see it happening. To me, I was just being a good girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought I had to do, to keep
Yeah.
him happy. So then I had that kind of talk. Somehow we ended up staying together. And then I would say about a year into the relationship, I started seeing a lot of aggression, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot of aggression. He would get angry over the smallest things, and he would hit things, he'd smash things up, and he'd always kind of do it around me. Like, if we were arguing, he would be in my face screaming, and then he'd like punch like really hard, like punch in the wardrobe that was in front of me, like really aggressive, just that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I would say to him, like, I don't like that. Like, that scares me. I don't like it. Which probably was a mistake on my end saying that, because, again, he then must have seen that as, well, it's working. Because each time I do that, she's more scared to speak up, or she's more scared to say something in case I react.
He gets more control.
Yeah. So, but I was still delusional, because it was very love bomby. It was very, like, at the very start, he made me feel like I was the most beautiful woman in the world, like I was the only girl in the world kind of thing, like I was it kind of thing. And when you've not had a great childhood, which we will go into, um and had been through a lot. Bear in mind, I was only 17 when I met him. I was
Early,
17.
like young.
Yeah. I was a child still, technically. Like, I hadn't even hit 18. I wasn't an adult.
Mm-hmm.
He was, what was he, 2 years older than me? So he was 19 or 20 when I met him.
Nonce.
Um,
I'm sorry. That was out of pocket.
um,
I'm not a bad guy.
so it,
I don't like this person.
that was like my first serious relationship. And I just assumed, well, if he's lashing out like this, I must have said something. I must have done something to cause him to be so upset or so angry. Like, next time I'll have to say this, or I won't speak up, which I still have issues with now.
Yeah.
There are times when something will come to my mind and I can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I think like you would ever react that way, but it's just it was just so built into me to not say anything at
Yeah.
that point.
And I think that's one thing that we probably struggle with. Well, not necessarily we, but like I struggle with. I was going to go into it like a bit later, but I'll just briefly mention it now. When you're in those kind of abusive or toxic relationships, you do take on those traits from that relationship, and when the next relationship you go into, be it a healthy one, you can carry those traits forward. And I feel like
100%.
we've done a lot of work as a couple to rid ourselves of these past traits that both of us have brought in. And I think that's one thing we do
Yeah.
still struggle with is I, as an overthinker, like, I see you go quiet or get down. I'm like,
Mhm.
what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Like,
You're a fixer.
I'm a fixer and I need to know what's
Mhm.
wrong so I can do something about it. Or if I've caused it, then I can apologize. But
Yeah.
then you still have that struggling to open up because being afraid of a reaction, not necessarily the
Mhm.
reaction that I would have, but just being ingrained in you. And it's so hard
Yeah.
to unlearn your brain from that.
I think also sometimes it's not even down to the reaction. I think it is just so ingrained in me to keep quiet.
Mm.
that it's now so alien to actually speak out, to actually tell people what's going on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that is abnormal. And that's not just from the relationship, that's my whole life kind of thing.
Yeah, that goes back to like your childhood of,
Mm-hmm.
if any of your family's listening, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Y'all suck at communicating.
So bad.
Your
Really
families
bad.
has awful communication.
They do.
So obviously growing up with that and
Mm-hmm.
then going straight from that environment to the environment of living with him, then that's just recipe
Yeah.
for disaster.
Yeah. And I wasn't in a good place mentally when I met him,
Mm-hmm.
because I had just been heartbroken by someone else. And it was almost like he comes sweeping in like a knight in shining armor kind of thing.
Right.
So it was like
He was
I got kind of
salvation.
and he swept me up. And basically the situation before was I'd fallen for a guy, been talking, and I turned out they were in a serious relationship.
Oh,
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, wait, hold on.
goddamn.
That's not what I signed up for," kind of thing.
You've never told me
So
this.
it's it was so long ago. I was literally 17 years old.
Uh-huh.
But like, and so I basically was like, well, okay, make your choice then, me or her. And because he didn't make a choice, I made the choice and was like, okay, bye, kind of thing. Like, so
That
I
was his
walked
decision.
away. Like,
Yeah,
by
you
not
made
making
it.
a choice, you made your choice, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
obviously second. I was second choice, so I
Yeah, well,
left.
you were like the home wrecker technically in the situation where he
Yeah,
was already in.
and I had no idea about it. It was literally like,
That's crazy.
yeah. So that was fun. So then, literally, I think it was about a month. Sorry, about a month after that was when he comes sweeping in, and so to go from in my head being second choice, not good enough, kind of thing, to all of a sudden this person's whole world. It was so easy for me to get swept up.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So then you go through that, and then I say it's when you go from that heartbreak and that low to someone coming in and just saying all the things you wanted to hear and needed to hear and do. And like, did he come in like, I don't think you can really love bomb. Can you love bomb like from the start? Because I feel like that's just, some people just show affection that way, right? Like, I don't know if it's
Some people do show affection that way. Some people can feel love bomby. Like, I think sometimes when the way I am, I can feel a bit love bomby. And it's not I know that I sound like the way I love can be a bit love bomby, but I'm not being I'm not love bombing you. Like, that's just how I am.
Yeah, you get
I'm all in.
when you fuck up, when you fuck up or have done something like to upset me, that then you go, you get like, no, it's like you say, I know what you mean. It's not love bombing. Like, you're not
Yeah.
sitting there going, oh, here's these presents, here's this, I've done this, like
No.
this is for you. Like, it's not that. It's just you become more affectionate, overly affectionate.
Yeah, because to me, it's I need to make up for upsetting you or hurting you and blah blah blah. And how I show that is by showing my love and affection physically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very physical, kind of touchy feely person, so it's like that's how I kind of apologize and show my love. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, like, I know that some people's love language can seem love bomby, but you can also love bomb right from the start. That's how
Yeah.
a lot of abusive relationships start, because
Mm-hmm.
it goes on for a certain amount of months. I would say around the 6-month mark, it stopped,
Yeah.
and that's when it was like a downhill spiral. But
Mm-hmm.
then I felt trapped, and I think It got worse after we moved in together.
Yeah, it
He got a
always
lot
tends
worse.
to.
Um, Gaming was out the window. Couldn't game anymore. And it was actually once we moved in that the first physical situation happened.
Mhm.
And it never happened when he was sober, which also made it hard for me to kind of tick the leave now box
Mhm.
because it was like an excuse. Like, oh,
Yeah.
he's drunk. He didn't know what he was doing. He couldn't remember. Like,
Yeah.
it gave the opportunity for an excuse to be put onto that behavior.
Mhm. It's not
So,
him, it's the alcohol. Like,
yeah, and I was
alcohol.
told that from people around me.
Really? That's awful advice because alcohol does not
Yeah,
excuse any behavior.
no. And I know that now,
Mhm.
but
At
just
the
going into
time.
my 20s, literally 20 years old, 21 years old, and because he would never touch me sober,
Mhm.
of course my brain was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah.
Because it only happens when he's had a drink, like,
Mhm.
so yeah, that was hard to kind of
Yeah.
navigate.
Must be hard for your brain because, like you said, you're like, "Oh, it's not him, it's the alcohol, blah, blah, blah," and you are trying to,
Mhm.
because you wanna see the good in everyone. You don't wanna see the bad side of people, and it's hard to accept that the people we love can be bad people
Yeah.
or have the ability to be a bad person. Like everyone, like you said it the other day. Like everyone has. I think we were watching Criminal Minds. Like we are
Yeah,
binge watching the hell out of Criminal Minds at the moment, and we were discussing if we had it in. I was like, I don't think I have it to murder someone. I couldn't. I don't think I could do it. And you said that you think everyone has it in
everyone
them.
everyone has the ability to do something bad.
Yeah.
Where, you know, being doing something bad is on a big scale. It could be like shoplifting, cheating, physical abuse. Like, there's such a big scale, and everyone has that ability.
Hmm.
It's there, and I think it's more about how mentally strong you are. Because I feel like if you're mentally weak in that situation, or you're having a bad time,
Mm.
it's very easy for that dark side to creep out.
Yeah.
It's very easy for someone to do something that they would never usually do and then be like, why no, why did that even happen? Like, why did I do that?
Yeah. Do you think it's one of those where you like everyone has that ability, like you said, it all kind of a lot of it can depend on like, their environment as well. It's almost like all the ingredients for this to grow are here. All it takes is like say a trigger or something to throw you into this whole different mindset, and then everything can become obscure, and you just that's how people get led down different paths. Like you can have two people that are like identical to each other. They grow up in different households, different environments, and one goes on to be a successful lawyer or whatever, and the other becomes a drug addict, like fighting for his life on the streets. Like
So it's it's hard. It's why I wanted to do psychology for a while, because
mm,
like the brain is such a crazy system.
fascinating.
It's fascinating. Like how someone could go through the exact same situations, exact same traumas as someone else,
Hmm.
and one could come out fine. fine. I say fine, like, yeah, they have their trauma and their issues, but
quote
they
unquote
are a
normal.
genuinely, like, good person, like, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And then the other person that's gone through the exact same situations could end up absolutely losing their mind or killing someone or ending up in a
Mm.
psychiatric hospital or, you know,
Yeah.
it's like the brain is so powerful, but it's also extremely fragile.
Yeah.
Extremely fragile. It can take one thing in your life to just, you know?
It's crazy how I think that's why you have to just be grateful in everything you do. Like every morning, you know me. I've always been like gratitude is always like number one for me
Yeah.
because your life can be snapped away from you in an instant,
Mhm.
and be that like in any way, shape, or form. Like I've got a friend someone I used to work with. I told you about Millie. She was like a theatre drama student.
Oh,
She was supposed to
yeah.
go on to she was going on roles in like Broadway and things like that. She was going to be a big, big star, and she's like singing, dancing, everything. And then recently, 6 months ago, due to stress, has just been diagnosed with, I don't mess this up, FND, functional neurological disorder, something along the line. I know it's FND, but it's basically
Yeah.
a disorder in the brain where the simplest tasks of walking and speech and everything just becomes so difficult. Just like
Mhm.
literally out of nowhere, she's just been hit by this, and like your whole world gets flipped
Just
upside
turned upside
down.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, shout out for Millie, who is doing incredible.
Mhm.
See her healing journey on TikTok. It is like inspiring to see you can be so positive with something so awful, like just like I said,
Yeah.
change in your life. And that goes for
Yeah.
people that can, like I say, it can send you down a dark, dark path that some people
Yeah.
never come back from.
Mhm.
But no, yeah, the um the relationships, we took a bit of a detour there. The
Yeah.
going to back to your ex, it when did it become apparent that you're like, I've got to get the hell out of here?
Honestly, I felt like the first time he was physical with me, I felt that. But when I reached out to people and I told them what happened, I got it was because of the alcohol. Go to couples therapy. Like, oh, he wouldn't do that sober. Like,
Mm.
and instead of I reached out wanting, you don't deserve that. You need to get out now. And I got excuses, excuses, excuses.
That's crazy though, like, cause
Yeah.
was he pretty good at playing
Oh,
like the nonchalant, like everything's fine, like
everyone loved him. Everyone loved him. Like, he would walk into a room and he'd be able to make anyone his friend.
jeez. I mean, your family loved me more, but
Yeah. I mean, I didn't. I found out quite recently that my dad absolutely hated him. I was like, oh, great. Could have told me that a few years back.
yeah, innit?
My dad was the one person I had never told the whole story to.
hmm He never knew that he was physical with you, did he?
No. If I told my dad that, my dad would have been in jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He had that kind of protection over his family
Mhm.
that he would go to prison for.
Yeah, he wouldn't even think twice. Yeah.
No, but no. Well,
But
thankfully, sorry, go on.
no, I was gonna rotate back to the abusive relationship. So it
Yeah, go on.
was just talking about like the first time.
Hmm.
If you want to go into that, I don't. It's up to you.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
I don't mind. I think I've spoke about it quite a lot. I've been very open about
Mm.
this with quite like, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the first time was extremely drunk, and it was never like punching or stuff like that. It was never anything that would ever leave a mark.
Mhm.
He we got in. It was like the first night that it ever happened. Alf, I've never seen him more drunk. And it was like we walked into the apartment, and I think I had pissed him off because he was being racist to the taxi driver that brought us home, and I basically told him to shut the up.
Mhm.
And I've walked into the thing first. I've walked into the apartment first, and he's walked in, and he just walked up behind me, wrapped his arm around my neck, and like tightened, and was like
Mm.
strangling me. And I was like, my whole body just kind of went into a shutdown shock
Mhm.
because it was like, what the hell is happening? Like, what is going on? It felt surreal
Yeah.
because right up until that second, not once did I ever think this was going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And he let go, and I kind of sat down on the sofa, and I was in a state of looking back now, I knew I was in a state of shock because I should have just walked straight out the door or
Yeah.
like banged on a neighbor's. I should have done something, but I literally just sat down dead silent and was just like got emotional. I got upset, and I was just like, what? Like, what has just happened? Like, my brain just couldn't compute it.
Mhm.
And then he started an argument, and he was like, what, like, why are you upset? Why are you upset? He got angry that I was upset.
Mhm.
Me being upset was annoying him. It was, and that
Yeah.
was then triggered. And he come up to the sofa, and at that point I was sobbing. And he was like, why are you scared? And he was laughing when he was saying it. He was like, why are you scared? Why are you scared? And I said to him, you just hurt me. Like, you just strangled me. Like,
Mm.
of course I'm going to be scared and upset. And then he was just like, oh, that was nothing. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, it wasn't nothing. Like, I felt it.
Mhm.
And then I think that because I was in a state of shock, my brain, instead of telling me to just shut up, I kind of argued back
Yeah.
and was just like, because I think it was almost like, how dare you kind of thing. Like, how dare you put your hand on me?
Mhm.
And obviously that didn't go down well.
Yeah.
And I remember he'd pinned me to the sofa and like by my throat, and was like, if you want to be scared, like, I'll give you something to be scared about, kind of thing.
Threatening, yeah.
Yeah. But at that, he was saying that as he was on top of me, like with his hands around my throat, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And at that point, I was like, am I even going to make it out? Like, at that point, it hit my brain. I was like, am I going to get out of this?
Yeah.
Like, so at that point, I got loud. I got very loud. I started shouting. Oh, my body had a little shake then.
Yeah.
That was weird. Like, I
Yeah.
haven't. That was strange. But
It's been a
yeah,
while since you've spoken about it, isn't it?
yeah. And then, so I rang my mum because my phone was like nearly on empty. So after he'd got off, because I'd managed to like pull his hands out, and then he got off and was just laughing as he walked away. It was like a
Mhm.
big game to him.
Yeah.
And my phone was literally on like 5%. So I sat on the floor, put my phone on charge, and I rang my mum and was just like, it's not good here right now. I need to come home. So then I stayed on the phone to Mum. Mum was like, "Oh, let me ring a taxi and I'll call you back." And I was like, "No, like I don't want you to come off the phone," kind of thing.
Mhm.
Mum was
Had
like,
you told
"Okay."
her that he'd been physical at that point? Or
I
had you
don't think
just
I'd
said that it
said
was?
it. I don't think I'd said it, but I think she kind of knew something bad had happened.
Mhm.
Um, so then she got my brother, Brad, to ring a taxi for me and to tell the taxi that she would pay for the taxi when I got there.
Mhm.
Um, and then whilst I was on the phone to Mum, he was stood in the kitchen doorway with a big butcher's knife,
Yes.
looking at me laughing, like running the butcher's knife up and down, like simulating a gutting
Mhm.
motion.
Yeah.
And he was just laughing. And the look in his eye, and I've said this, and I've heard it on Criminal Minds and stuff, where some of the women have said the man I was looking at was not the man I knew or loved.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what I saw and felt.
Yeah.
The person that was in that eye, that his eyes went completely black. There was no colour. It was just like gone. That
Mhm.
person that I knew was not there. And I
Yeah.
think that was the scariest thing. It wasn't what he was doing to me.
Mhm.
It was the fact that I was looking into his eyes and I had no idea what was looking back at me. It was
Yeah.
almost like possessed. It was almost
Yeah.
like he'd been possessed and that wasn't him, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and what's more scary is like the switch from standing in a doorway with a butcher's knife, laughing and making gutting motions, to then me getting up and going, "I'm leaving, I'm going to Mum's," and instantly it was like a light switch. He just switched himself back to himself. I was like, "Why are you leaving? Like, why are you leaving? What's going on?" Which threw me because I was
That would
just
mess you
like,
up.
yeah, because I couldn't understand. I'm like, "You've just gone from attacking me and threatening me without, that was a threat. What he was doing
Yeah.
with the knife was a threat. Whether he used words or not, the actions and he was doing and the implications of those actions was a threat.
Mhm.
And to then suddenly just go straight back to the guy I knew and being all confused and being like, "What's going on? Like, what's happened? Why are you leaving?"
Yeah.
It was crazy to me. And then I just left. And then I remember he tried to stop me and I screamed. I remember screaming at the top of my lungs. I was just like, "Don't touch me!" Like
Mhm.
really loud screaming it. Um, and he was a bit like shocked, walked away, just went to bed. So I stood outside, phone on 5%, stood outside in the pitch black. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
And I was just stood under a street lamp. The street lamps weren't turned off at that time.
Yeah.
And I was just stood under a street lamp waiting for the taxi. And then the next day, it was like it never happened. He couldn't remember it. He had no recollection of it. Whether he actually did or not, I
I
don't
was gonna
know.
say, do you think
But
he did, but it was just his way of like
mm,
being like a admission of guilt by saying like, "Oh,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
remember,
yeah,
so like I'm not guilty." Like,
yeah. Oh, if I don't remember it happened, it didn't happen, kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so I ended up staying with him.
Mm.
I went
For how many
back
more
to the
years?
flat. About 3 more years.
Jeez. And
Yeah.
then 3 more years, there was a few more instances.
Yeah.
You had an incident in Bulgaria of something similar. We don't have to go into all of them, but it happened multiple more times.
Mhm.
And then what was like how did you get out? Was it?
So the trigger for me actually, my mind actually split him from this is what I'm going to put up with for the rest of my life, to absolutely not, I don't deserve this, was, so I fell pregnant. And if you do know me, you know that I have PCOS, I have fertility issues, and being a parent is like the one thing I want to do. Like that's like my dream, is to be a mum. So getting that kind of positive test, it was bittersweet because I was happy and excited, but then also there was that thing in the back of my mind that was like, but should I be having the baby with this person, kind of thing. And then it was during COVID, so it was during lockdown. I was still working because obviously I worked in a school. I had to keep working, and it was a lot of stress. There was a lot going on, and I ended up having a miscarriage. And the day of the miscarriage, so, you know, I'm in pain, crying, you know, and I asked him to get me something from upstairs. And I still remember this exact moment like it happened yesterday. Like, that's how strong it kind of hit me. Was like, because during the pregnancy, he was like perfect, you know? And I was like, oh, this is the person I first fell in love with, kind of thing. Kind of got a bit delusional and thinking, oh, well, this is it. Like, this is all going to be amazing now. And after the miscarriage, I asked him to get me something from upstairs, and his reply was, why don't you get it yourself? It's not like you're pregnant anymore, is it? And it was like, that felt more like a knife to me. Like, that hurt. That hit me in a place that I didn't even know existed. Like, that was painful. Because I'm like, I've literally just lost the one thing I've always wanted. All I've asked was you to get me something from upstairs. And that was the reply. Like, that's how you're now back to treating me.
Yeah.
And that was the switch where I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. And lockdown had got hard. We were living in a house. He owned the house. I had nothing to name on the paperwork or anything. Like, he owned it. And before lockdown happened, he wasn't a fan of my family coming down. He was like telling me, oh, I just want it to be you and me. Like, I'd prefer it to be you and me, kind of thing. Whenever they did come down, I'd them for the whole week before would hear just constant moaning about the children. They're going to make a mess, this, that. Like,
the children being your little brother and sister.
My little brother and sister, yeah.
Who at the time would have been what?
Very young.
Ava would have been what, 3, and Fred would have been 7-ish.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it was almost like again that trying to kind of break away from family. And it got to Christmas. So this happened around my birthday. The miscarriage happened around my birthday. It was like just before my birthday. So it happened at the end of July. And then come December, obviously it was Christmas. I had to spend the Christmas just me and him. So I spent a lot of time on, like, my family did big group, like, video calls, and they'd all have some drinks and play games and stuff like that. And I never joined him because he would get really funny if I did. And then around New Year's Eve, no, it was around Christmas. It was Christmas. I joined one, and he was sat next to me, and I was like trying to get him involved, and he just didn't want to interact with my family at all. And he then, like, got up with a right hump and went to bed because I was spending time with my family.
Yeah.
And at that point, I feel like I'd very much been like, I don't even care anymore. Like, do what you want to do. And I think, like, my auntie Sarah, she noticed. I
Mhm.
think she noticed that something wasn't right.
You could probably see your mood changing or whatnot after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was actually Auntie Sarah that started the ball rolling,
Mhm.
because she messaged me and was like, "Look, Jayleigh, like, we know something's going on. We can see that you're not happy. If you need to talk, I am a safe space."
Mhm.
And just that message, like, I kind of just spewed it out.
Yeah. Sometimes it's all it takes. It's one person
Yeah,
to just send you a message.
yeah. So then she kind of was like, "Speak to your parents, like, they'll help you." Um, I did speak to mum. I think mum was I don't think mum fully understood how bad it was,
Yeah.
and she was very like, "It can work, like, you can get better," kind of, thinking it was just, "Oh, it's because of the miscarriage, that the disconnect has happened because of that."
Yeah.
And, so then I spoke to dad, and at Christmas, I remember ringing my dad up, and I sobbed. I was just sobbing, and I just said to him, "I'm just not happy anymore, Dad." And he literally replied, "If you're not happy, baby, come home."
Mhm.
That was his words. "If you're not happy, baby, come home. You'll
Yeah.
always be my baby. You'll always be my little girl. Like, you're even if we haven't got room for you, we'll make room. Like,
Mhm.
come home if you don't want to be there anymore."
Yeah.
And just hearing, it was almost like that relief of like 3 or 4 years of that's what I needed to hear. I just needed
Yeah.
someone to say, "It's okay, you can leave." I just needed a
Yeah.
family member to say, "You can leave,
Just
it's
that
okay."
reassurance. Yeah.
Yeah. And I literally broke down and was like, I can't stay, Dad. I need to come home. I can't do it anymore." And within a month of that phone call, I was out of the house, all of my stuff was out, and I
Mhm.
was back living with my parents.
Yeah.
it's it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a long old journey for you in like
Mm.
with that relationship, but it's doesn't come without its extra baggage that it leaves behind in
Yeah.
what kind of your normal became and kind of having to
Mhm.
like unlearn a bunch of toxic traits or even just like little things that aren't normal but maybe seemed normal because it's just been ingrained in you for so long. In fact,
Yeah.
that's one thing we kind of work on as a couple is helping each other unlearn those kind of things that may have seeped into our relationship. Not so
Yeah.
much now, but definitely like at the start, that like our first year, I think for our first year was
Difficult.
relatively difficult
Yeah.
because again, you hadn't really worked on yourself yet.
I'd worked on myself, but that was the first time I'd been in a relationship since my ex.
Yeah,
So all this new stuff that I hadn't worked on, because you can't work on it until you're in
in
that
another
situation and you
relationship.
know what the actual issues are.
Yeah, because it's not
And
until sorry, go on.
I didn't know that these things were coming up. I didn't know these things were an issue until we got
Until
together,
I
and then I had
yeah.
issues, and then I was like, "Hold on. I
Yeah,
thought I was
yeah,
okay."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think we've always I think it's why we do work because I think we've both made mistakes. We've both like fucked up in our relationship. We've both
Oh, yeah.
struggled. We've both been through ultimate highs, ultimate lows.
Mhm.
But I think we both have a maturity and understanding and like patience when it comes to each other in trying to learn and to grow together, but also individually help each other learn and grow and become better people.
100%. I feel like if, like, coming from either one of us, if we're both forgiving and we're both understanding in the fact that we know we've both got some stuff to deal with
Mhm.
and we're helping each other get through them, but we're both very straight and honest with the fact that if we're not seeing the other person trying
Mhm.
to heal and trying to grow and trying to deal with those things that are causing us as a couple issues,
Yeah.
then we're both very honest with the fact that we will walk away. No matter
Yeah.
how much we love each other, like, we will walk away. And I
Yeah.
think that's why we do work, because we both have that foundation of, if one of us isn't trying, then it's done, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's they're holding each other accountable for things.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, things that make me tick or like pee me off, and
Yeah.
we're and vice versa, and we're both constantly trying to work on them. I mean, no relationship is perfect. I think that
No.
was a hard thing for me in maybe like our first half, like our first 18 months, was I was really starting to pick up steam when it came to streaming. Like I was starting
Mm.
to really grow. I was getting quite big, and a lot of my energy was going into that. And it did take a toll on our relationship because my mind was just stream, 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 like content, 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 content.
Yeah.
And it's super hard to, like, people don't realize the toll content can take on relationships. I mean, you were doing content as well. Like we were both doing it as well. So
Yeah.
I can imagine it'd be even harder for someone in content and their partner isn't part of that world, you know. And
Yeah.
we had the same friend groups, we had the same friends, and
Yeah.
I think we've definitely grown and healed and really became better people since taking a step back from that, and really kind of just, okay, we have to reorganize our priorities and work on ourselves. And
100%.
I think
Yeah.
we've definitely become closer. And
I was going to say we've matured, but when you're throwing
we
those kind of accents out there.
I have matured
As a
uh
person.
as a
Like,
person,
yeah.
but I will always be a silly, weird little child.
Yeah. But that's your
I am a
personality.
man child. But no, but it's very, I don't mean that in an emotional intelligence where I think we've grown, our emotional intelligence has grown. I think we're both very candid in conversations, and we can handle ourselves
Yeah.
very well,
Yeah.
without taking life too seriously, because you can't take life too seriously. You have to just, my whole
Life is too
philosophy,
short.
life is too short. My family, for as long as I've been on this earth, has been like, the philosophy has just been to laugh. If you're
Yeah.
hurting, if you're in pain, if you're going through hardship, if you can make fun of it, if you can make light of it, it just makes things easier.
Mhm.
Like, my family gets so dark that when my granddad was bedridden with dementia and he couldn't speak, we would make jokes about his memory and forgetting things, and just, but
I think you that's it's a coping mechanism, isn't it?
it is, but it's not even, I don't even see it as a coping, because I know people can use humor and comedy as a defense to avoid working on themselves or whatever, but I think I personally use it as part of my healing, because I feel like if I can laugh at
Yeah.
it, if I can laugh at it and I can have fun with it, then the healing and growth of it becomes less difficult. It becomes less daunting.
Yeah.
Have you got a dog there?
Yeah, she's jumping up at the table. She wants attention.
I want to see it. Can I see it? Can we show her off?
Oh, I'm gonna have to try and get down.
Oh God,
Hey, yeah, Rosie.
she's dog sitting right now for her auntie's dog. This is for audio listeners.
I'm
She's
done.
gone to go get the dog,
I'm done.
and she's now
It's
holding the dog up to the camera.
Rosie.
No. Oh, she's
Gorgeous Papa.
beautiful. She's a right little
Who's
cutie.
that?
You probably don't recognise me. I've only met you once. I apologise, audio listeners. Cute dog was shown on screen. Wish I could tell you what breed it was.
a
I don't know.
necessity. Cockapoo or something?
Cockapoo? Okay.
Something like that.
Cockapoo? I hardly know her.
Huh?
I apologise. So let's move away from trauma. You are an SEND teaching assistant. You work with children with special educational needs and all that jazz. How did you find yourself getting into that kind of career?
I think it was a mixture of things. My nana married a guy when I was quite young, and he was a children's entertainer, and I was very close with him. I spent a lot of my weekends with them. I loved him. He was like another father figure to me, because my relationship with my dad wasn't the best at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up, he was the guy that I kind of modelled who I wanted to be like from. And he was just the most loving, kindest, happiest guy. Like, you would have absolutely loved him. Anyone that met him could never say a bad word about this man. There was not a bad bone in his body.
Yeah.
And yeah, lost him when I was quite young. But he still holds such a strong role in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, being a children's entertainer, he would work at caravan parks and stuff like that. And he wasn't just an entertainer, like, he would get to know the families, the children. When he was around them, he was like a surrogate dad to them all. Like, he was just another parent in the relationship, you know? He was
like a figurehead.
Yeah. Everyone loved him, and he was just growing up and seeing someone have such a positive light for children that probably didn't have the greatest lives, and, you know, dads were drunks, or mum and dad were arguing all the time, or you know, like, relationships weren't great around the children that I was friends with. So to see him be such a light in their darkness, it kind of stuck with me, I think. And then when I was about 15, when I got diagnosed with PCOS and being told that I might never have children of my own, I think that then cemented, if I can't be a mum to my own children, working with children is like, could be the closest that I could get, you know?
Yeah.
Which I've ended up working with a lot of children that do come from bad households, and I am, you know, those children. Sorry.
Are you being stared at by a dog?
She's going. A lot of those children, you know, I was their safe person. So in a way, it was like I was doing the same role as he was, just in a different setting and a different system.
Different sector. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you, like, you've always, for as long as I've known you, you've always had like a natural way with like children and caring for not even just children, for people in general. Do you think that, like, your past of your struggles from childhood and things like that has, like, made you more patient, protective of the children that you work with?
100%. 100%, especially with the protectiveness. Like, I
Mm,
always say when I'm at work, they are my children. The
yeah,
children that I work with, they're my children. I treat them and love them the way a mother should love their children.
yeah.
Because whilst they're under my care, they need to be loved and respected and cherished the way a mother would love, respect, and cherish the child. Otherwise, they're not
Mhm.
going to blossom. They're not going to grow. Like, you can't do the job I do and hate children. Like, it
No,
wouldn't work. You have to have that motherly role,
that passion, that love,
that
that
passion, that love.
care.
Like, the fact that one of my one-to-ones calls me mama because he's quite non-verbal. We've started getting him speaking a lot, but like, he can't, or sometimes we'll go, Quamer, Quamer. But 9 times out of 10, it's
That's your
mama.
last name for
Mama,
the
help. Mama, help.
yeah.
Because I'm with that child all the time. I
Mhm.
am a surrogate mum whilst they're in school, and that's how I see my role.
Yeah.
Do you know, I think as well that's why it's hard when you stop working with children, because you put so much love and care and attention into those children that for then all of a sudden you're not working with them and you don't see them, and you do feel that loss, and you do feel it is hard. It's very
Mhm.
hard.
Yeah, it's a lot more goes into it than people realize. Is that what's like something people that don't work with kids with special educational needs, what's something like you wouldn't realize that goes into it? Like, what's something that maybe is misunderstood or people don't even understand?
I think in general, children that have special educational needs and disabilities are misunderstood. They are humans with personalities just the same as a normal child, you know, quote
Mhm.
unquote. Like, they're just as cheeky. They push buttons exactly the same as other children.
Mhm.
And a lot of children that I work with sometimes are kind of coddled too much, the babied too
Yeah.
much because of their diagnosis.
Mhm.
So I think sometimes people might assume, well, they have to be treated differently. Like, they have to, they can't be disciplined the way another child might be disciplined in a school, and that's completely wrong,
Mhm.
because ultimately my role is to get that child in a situation where they're independent, they're happy, they're safe, and they grow up to be ready to go into society in the world. If I don't treat that child the same as I treat a child that doesn't have those needs, they are going to become entitled. They're going to push
Mhm.
boundaries. They're not going to do the same, they're not going to reach their targets because you're not going to be pushing them. Just because of their diagnosis doesn't mean they can't be pushed, doesn't mean they
Yeah.
can't, you know?
It's almost a disservice if you're not pushing them, because then you're
Yeah,
saying, "Oh, they're not capable," when they can be capable of so many things. They just
exactly.
need more understanding and that push.
Yeah, it's as simple as not stepping in and helping a child put their coat on. You see them really struggling. Your instincts, you want to step in and help them, but
Yeah.
you can't, because they need to be able to have that independence of being able to put their coat on, of being able to wipe their bottom, of being able to cut their food. Like,
Yeah.
the same way you would teach a child that doesn't have needs to do all these things independently, these children that do have needs have the right to be able to do those things independently. And a lot of people don't kind of think like that.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? A lot of people go, oh, but look, like, they're struggling, like, just help them. But then where's that going to get them?
They're not gonna learn.
They're not going to learn. They're just going to keep coming to you,
Yeah.
you know? So, and like, I have to toilet train children. I'm now having to teach children to brush their teeth.
It's crazy you have
That's
to do
part
that
of
at
the
school.
curriculum in a school, is to teach a child to brush their teeth.
Like, surely
Because
that's a
it's so
parent's job, though.
worrying. I don't know why it's been brought in. I think there is a rise of children not being looked after the way they should be.
Mhm.
There is a rise of children that come from a good household, but because they've been babied so much, they don't have that independence. They don't have that.
Mhm.
You know, we have children that come into reception that don't know how to wipe their bottom. Like, you're 4 and 5. At that age, you should be wiping your bottom.
Mhm.
You should know how to go to the toilet. Because you can. Then at that age, they are more than capable of doing those things. So, yeah, that's...
Yeah, I mean, thankfully I've got you now, so, like, no one ever taught me how to wipe my bottom, so. Yeah, no, it's a hard bloody job.
Oh, yeah, I come home
I could never do
exhausted.
it. You do. It's just,
I do.
like, every day. It's definitely taxing to say the least.
Yeah,
But you
but I
love
love it. Yeah.
it. Yeah, we do that a lot now where we say the same thing. We've been together
Yeah, we
so long
do.
now, it's just
Ingrained.
yeah. You ever feel like, you know, people say you start to look like your like significant other, like if when you're with someone for long, like, you know, you see those couples where they're like, are they the same person?
Yeah. It's like that thing on TikTok where it's like, brother or partner.
Oh no.
Have you seen that?
No. I've seen some weird stuff on there that's to do with like brother sister stuff, but I'm
Huh?
I'm thankfully not on incest talk.
Took a turn.
It's
Took a turn real quick.
yeah. Our relationship is about 50% innuendos, so
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
50% innuendos, 25% like quotes, 20% memes, and the rest of it sarcasm.
Yeah.
Maybe more sarcasm, actually.
I would say a lot of sarcasm, mainly from me.
Who do you reckon's more sarcastic?
Me.
Do you think? I don't know.
Yeah. But no, we're two different types of sarcastic, though.
Yeah. I'm a muggy
You're funny
sarcastic.
sarcastic, and I'm like bitchy
Muggy.
sarcastic.
Yeah, yeah. You're definitely the more bitchy one in the relationship.
Yeah.
We should do one of
Yeah.
those things where, like, you know, we like, oh, hold up the sign. We're like, who's more this,
Yeah.
who's more that.
Yeah, we should. We definitely should.
I think who's more angry?
Me.
Yeah. Who's more tired?
Me.
You. Yeah, it'll be you for a lot, I think.
Yeah, I think it will.
I'm just the Labrador. Like, what was it? No, Golden Retriever.
The golden retriever. Yeah.
So the hot-headed angry volcano.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We kind of
I
like a
am a
good.
nice person, guys.
You are
like, not.
no. That's the thing. That's like there's so it's crazy because you're so loving and caring and empathetic for literally everyone, but also don't fuck with you. Like,
I'm very like light switch. I will care about you until I don't, and then I don't care about you at all.
yeah, it's not that you feel hate or anger towards anyone. It's just you actually just feel
No.
nothing for them.
Like, you're just irrelevant at this point.
Yeah, you're not. If you're not positive, like around, like me and my circle, my family, my friends, like I'm not going to put my energy
Yeah.
into you. Like if you're not putting good energy to me, I'm not I'm not putting
Yeah.
bad energy. I'm just, my energy is directed elsewhere.
Somewhere else. Yeah.
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 But no, it's an interesting thing. Relationships and people
Oh yeah.
and all that jazz. We've had our fair share of conversations about that. But
Mhm.
I do want to dive into the hard topic. But we are recording this nearly exactly a year since you lost your dad.
Yeah.
How's the last year been for you?
Horrendous. um no, it's been really hard. It's been really hard. When when we lost dad, and I don't think people understand until you've lost a parent. When you lose a parent, you lose a big chunk of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I now feel like I'm walking around with a giant hole in me that I know will never ever heal.
Yeah.
That hole will never close, you know? So it's hard. And there's days where I'm absolutely fine and it's like my brain almost forgets that he's actually gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then the smallest thing, it will be like a song will come on, or I'll see a feather, or the slightest thing, and that's it. I'm like sobbing.
Yeah. It's always it can be so unexpected, and you can just be set off and triggered at, like I say, the tiniest thing at any moment in time.
Yeah,
Like when you least expect it as well, it normally is, isn't it?
100%. 100%.
So for those that don't know, we lost your father. He had stage 4 terminal cancer. It was
Yeah.
very quick. He had a bit of a cough towards the end of 2023. He diagnosed in November.
He was diagnosed in November 2024.
No, 2023.
2024.
No, last year was 2020. He passed away in April 2024.
Oh, yeah, 2023.
Yeah.
Sorry, years getting all confused.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah, it's 2025, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, he was, yeah, so diagnosed in 2023.
At the
Around the
end.
beginning of November,
Yeah.
but we wasn't told until more towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember the exact name of the cancer he had, but it was a very fast-paced growing one.
It was an
It
aggressive.
spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
It was very aggressive. It started off with he had a chesty cough a couple of months before, and I remember him being worried then. Do you remember me telling you? Like, I was very worried because he was worried.
And he was a
And he
tough
was
son of
like,
a bitch. Like he didn't
yeah,
ever go
he
to
wouldn't
hospital or
go,
doctors.
no. And he was like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
Something's, and he got a bit drunk one night and got quite emotional and was crying to me and saying like, something doesn't feel right. I'm scared, kind of thing. And he kept going back to the doctors and they kept telling him it was pneumonia, or telling him it was, a chest infection, like take this, take this, take this. And it wasn't until he started coughing up blood that he went back to the doctors and went, something isn't right and I'm not leaving until you tell me what's going on. And so they looked deeper into it, done x-rays, and that's when they found the shadow on his lung. And because they'd seen the shadow on his lung months before.
That was
months
it.
and months before.
Yeah.
And thought it was pneumonia. Treated it as pneumonia. And obviously by that point, because it was a fast, aggressive one, it had grown so much in that couple of months that it had got quite bad very quickly. We were told that he would have a year to 5 years to live.
At best.
Yeah. And then very quickly, like, we had Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
We all spent Christmas at my parents'.
Yep.
Me
My
and
first time
you,
cooking
me and you
Christmas dinner.
cooked. Yeah, we cooked for them so that, you know, my mum and dad didn't have to worry about anything. Like, they could both be present with their, because I've got younger children, I've got younger siblings.
Yeah.
So that they could both be present for that Christmas. They could both be there, both spending time with the children. They didn't have to stress or worry, like, and it was an amazing Christmas. Like, the memories we've got from that Christmas are so special.
Yeah.
But it took a very quick downward spiral from Christmas, like, insanely quick. He went from, we were celebrating because he'd had a special like strong radiotherapy that had completely knocked it back. Like, it had gotten rid of it in his brain, because at this point it moved so fast, it had gone to so many different points of his body. But by Christmas, because of the radiotherapy that he had, it was an aggressive radiotherapy, but it got rid of it completely from his brain. It had, you know, knocked it right back. It had shrunk the lung a little bit. Like, it was looking really positive. And even the doctors were saying he could have a lot longer, you know, he could have over a year. Like, you could have another year with him. And then he got appendicitis. So, chemotherapy had to be stopped. It was stopped for 2 months. And that was it.
That was the final,
That was it. Like, those 2 months of not having the chemo to kind of keep it back
It just
allowed
took over.
it to spread entirely through his body. He went into hospital beginning of April. He was in there for a week. They thought he might have sepsis. There was, like, they didn't know what was wrong, but he and himself was fine. Like, me and my eldest younger brother, we went to visit him in hospital. You know, we had banter. He was up. He was taking the mick out of the nurses. He was, you know, slagging
His
people
usual
off
self.
outside. The usual thing. Like, he was
Loud and
my dad,
brash.
you know? Like, and he was himself. He was more himself then than he'd been in a long time. And looking back now, I know a lot of the nurses, there's a special term for it, but it's almost like before someone goes, their true kind of, they go back to how you knew them as, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, and, you know, he was told, oh, you'll be getting out of hospital, you can go home. But it was a little too late to go home that day, so he was due to go on a bus home, like, literally at the first transport out of hospital the next morning. He was due to come home, and you'd literally just come up, because I was by myself at that point. You'd just come up.
Yeah, I had a few days off work and came up to see you.
Yeah, and it was that day. It was that day you came up, and then 2:00 that morning, Mum got a phone call saying, like, you need to come to the hospital. He's took a turn for the worse.
He had a seizure, didn't he?
He had, yeah, it was just,
He had 2. He had 1, and then he had another one.
Yeah, so he'd had a seizure, and Mum broke down. So then I had to kind of, it was weird. It was like, I think in that moment, Mum knew. So that was her grieving in that moment. Like, as soon as she got that phone call, it was like it was all coming out.
It's like it's happening
So
now.
then,
Like,
yeah. So I was trying to get her focused enough to be like, let's just get to the hospital. So we phoned my dad's friend. He picked us up, drove us to the hospital. You know, this, bear in mind, this was just past 2 a.m. Flew to the hospital. We had to be let through a certain way because there was a riot police in the hospital because someone in A&E was kicking off, and there was like it was chaos. So we had to be taken around the long route. You know, we're being told we need to get to the get to my dad now, and we're having to go the long route around the hospital. Yeah, so we got there. Been told that he'd had a seizure. They think it was due to the tumours, like, in his brain, that the cancer had spread to his brain. And it was a difficult moment because Mum stayed outside to speak to the doctor. Sorry. Mum stayed outside to speak to the doctor, and I went in to see Dad. And I walked in, and my dad, being my dad, the first words he said to me was, "Fucking hell, I thought I was going to die." I went, "Oh, for God's sake, Dad." Gave him a kiss on the head and was like, "That's not," you know, I gave him a kiss. We had that bit of joke. And then the doctor called us out to tell us what was going on. So I was the last person to see and speak to Dad when he was able to speak.
Still communicate.
Which is, yeah. Which is nice in one way, that I was able to have that last moment. But then I feel awful for Mum because I know that she still holds it quite heavy. She still holds it quite heavy that instead of talking to the doctor, she should have gone in.
Yeah. And
like she said, like, he knew I was here. Like, I remember Mum saying, like, he knew I was here, doesn't he? Like, he knows. And I was like, yeah. Like, I told him he was just outside and that you'd be right in, that he wasn't alone, kind of thing. And it was when the doctor was explaining to us what had happened that my dad had his second seizure. Sorry.
That's okay. You okay?
Yeah. That he had the second seizure, which he then came out of it quite aggressive, which is quite common when you have a seizure. You can become quite aggressive because you're confused, you're disorientated, you don't know what's happening, so your brain like tries to lash out and fight.
Yeah.
So they had to heavily sedate him and put him like into this kind of passive state, and he never came out of that state. Bearing in mind, we was in hospital and we was in the section where you would be leaving, so we were surrounded by families that were visiting their loved ones that they're going to be leaving later that day.
Yeah,
like,
people that are like healthy and okay and good to go.
Healthy and okay, and we've got a bit of curtain separating my whole family and Dad's whole family, saying goodbye to him, whilst there's families laughing and joking about what they're going to have for dinner when they get out in the sheep literally next to us. And it was such a hard situation. And my dad's sister, she was a paramedic at the time, and she fought so hard, bless her, because Dad wanted to be in the hospice. That's where he wanted to go, and the hospice is beautiful.
It was stunning.
Stunning. And that's where he wanted to be. He wanted his last moments to be at the hospice, and Jen, bless her, fought so hard to get him. And they were like, unless his oxygen is stable, he wouldn't be safe enough to transport. And there was just so many people that made it possible for Dad to get to the hospice. Down to someone that Dad's known since childhood being the paramedic to transport him from the hospital to the hospice, going, I'm not supposed to put him on oxygen, but sod it, I'm keeping him on oxygen. I'm going to make him as comfortable as possible. Like, you know, it's the fact that everything seemed to line up.
Yeah.
Having someone that he'd known his whole life being the person to take him to that hospice and make him so safe and settled.
Yeah.
And it was just, Dad was so agitated. He couldn't speak, but you could just tell with his body language at the hospital, he was not comfortable. He was not happy. And as soon as we got to the hospice, no. And as soon as we got to the hospice, his whole body changed. His whole demeanor changed. Like, as soon as he got to the hospice, they stripped him down. They washed him from top to bottom, made him so fresh, put fresh pajamas on him, wrapped him up in like this really nice blanket. He had a wound from the hospital and he'd been in there a week that it was like a bed sore just above his bum. He had a pad on that hadn't been changed since he'd went in there the day he went in.
Fucking awful, isn't it?
And it's like, well, no wonder he probably had sepsis, because it was discussed. From what I heard, it was very, very infected. So it's like, at that point,
no wonder he was agitated and in pain. And
no wonder he was in pain. No wonder he spiraled and had a downfall, because his body was trying to fight cancer and possibly sepsis, but they couldn't treat him for sepsis because his arms were so swollen they physically couldn't get veins. Because of the cancer, he had so much water retention in his arms, they were so swollen that they couldn't get a vein to treat him for sepsis. So it was like, in that situation, it was a lose-lose by that point. But yeah, as soon as, and they got to the hospice and they made him so comfortable and they wheeled him out into this garden area. And for those who don't know, my dad was an outdoor person. He loved the sun. He loved, if it was outside and it was sunny, he would be there, you know?
Barbecue lit,
music on, family surrounding him. Like, that's what he loved. And that's how he went. Not with that, you know, didn't have a barbecue, but but like, everyone was there. Every single person was there.
So many people.
The sun was shining directly onto him. The birds were chirping. There was not a cloud in the sky.
No beeping, no hospital noises.
There was nothing. It was just so peaceful. Everyone was around. Yeah, it was just.
It's crazy how it goes, because when, like, they say, like, people like will hold on until it's the right time for them to go, kind of thing, and like, he refused to go in that awful hospital. It's not a good hospital what it was in. It was horrible. It's notorious, like, for being a very bad hospital. But that is the thing with loss, is that it does bring people together. I've never seen so many people come together and show so much love for one person, one family, in, like I say, from the paramedic getting him to the hospice. The people at the hospice were just absolutely incredible. Like, even phenomenal. Even me being like, your partner, they were coming up to me and asking if I'm okay. They were talking to everyone, comforting everyone. They made your dad feel as comfortable as possible. And it was like, I wasn't even meant to be up there. I think I somehow managed to get an extra 2 days off work. I just started a new job and I had these days off. So I was like, oh, I'll just come up and see you, kind of thing. Yeah. And then it all happened.
My auntie flown over.
Your auntie flew over from Dubai.
She lives in Dubai. She literally lives in Dubai, and she flew over just like, and
just
she popped in to see him. You know, she was around.
Yeah.
She was due to fly back the next day.
Yeah. And it's like everything just lined up, and
Yeah.
your dad was
Everyone
like,
was there.
and then it was clear that your dad was okay. Like, this is the time. Like, I can rest. And like, it was almost like your dad was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm happy. I can.
Yeah. And it was that it's hard to it's hard to explain the moment he went, because both me and my brother was there holding Dad's hand at the time that he took his last breath,
Hmm.
which was hard.
Yeah.
Because Mum wasn't there at the time. Mum was she was I think she was having a cigarette, wasn't she? She was having a
Yeah.
smoke. And so she was like right round the other side of the building, and it was just,
I had to get my Mo Farah boots on and
oh
literally
god,
run around
yeah.
run the entire length of the hospice to
Yeah.
find her. And
But you got there.
yeah.
And it was like you felt he almost just sighed. And he was just like, it was just
Mm,
that, okay. And you felt that he was going.
yeah.
And I just remember shouting, "Someone get Mum! Like, someone get Mum now!" Because you knew that was it.
Yeah, you could
And
tell.
I just remember I see you run, because everyone was going, "Where is she? Where is she?" And I was just like, "I don't know, just
I
get
just
her,
started running.
just run, just find her."
Yeah.
And I just remember saying to him, both me and Brad were like constantly like, "Just hold on, just hold. She's coming. She will be here. Just hold on that little longer."
Hmm.
And literally, Mum got there. Me and my brother moved out of the way. I remember Mum taking Dad's hand, and she was like, "I'm here now, babe. You can go. Like, it's okay. You can go." And just that sigh he took, that breath he took, and then that was it. And it was just like, it was nice because he held on for Mum.
Hmm.
He held on for Mum because, like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they were so inseparable. Like, Dad, they just loved each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
It was
hard, but it was beautiful at the same time, you know?
it was almost as perfect as those situations can be. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's never great. It's always awful. And but it was just everything that could have gone right went right, thankfully. No
Yeah.
one got to miss out, I don't think. No, like, no one.
No.
Your dad kind of went on his terms in
Yeah.
that way.
He went how he wanted to go out, where he wanted to go out. Every single one of his family members was there,
Hmm.
even members that he didn't even really get along with.
Yeah,
But,
but they were
like,
there to show love and
they were
care.
there, you know? There was not a single person missing. And it was like, it was the perfect time.
Hmm.
And I am so grateful, because I had left work about 2 months before to be able to help out more and to be able to go up and see them. Because obviously,
Hmm.
working in a school, I couldn't just up and leave. I was 2 hour train journey away from them. It was
You couldn't book a
difficult.
week off. You couldn't take time off to
No.
go. Yeah.
So I made the decision to leave work, and yeah, two months later, that was it. But, like, I'm so grateful we all managed to say goodbye, because I know a lot of people don't get that opportunity. A lot of people
No.
say have a nice day at work, and then never
Never
get to
see
see
him.
someone again. Like, my whole world crashed when he went. Like,
Hmm.
I lost myself so much, and I didn't expect it. And I think a lot of it was because me and my dad never had an amazing relationship,
Hmm.
but he was also my rock.
Yeah.
It was a very strange relationship, like very love-hate, but we both just bashed heads. We were both so
So
alike
similar.
that
Yeah.
we were too similar, But it was like, I felt like someone had pulled say you have a tub that's full of water, and just someone just pulls it out, pulls the bottom out so fast that it just everything drops.
Mhm.
That's how I felt. I felt like I just lost everything.
Yeah.
And I lost myself for a very long time. Very long time.
Yeah. I think you've done, especially like, the fact that it's only been a year, like it has been, when you think about it, a very short amount of time. Like I think you've come such a long way, and you've done so well to hold yourself, for the most part, together,
Yeah.
and kind of just, I think your dad left some like nice advice before, didn't he? And saying just live, just get out there and
Just yeah. I mean, my dad, he was going to be turning 50
mm,
that year. He was so young. Like, to think that there was so many things that he never got to do. And it does make me question, and it does make me think, you know, there's things that I put off or I say no to because of work. Oh, I can't because of work.
mm-hmm,
And it does make you think, like, but if, you know, when I go, work, they're just going to replace me with someone else. But
yeah,
that time with family, that time with friends, like, they're the ones that are going to feel it the most.
yeah. They're the memories. That's where
They're
you
the
make the
memories that
memories.
you need to make. Yeah.
Hmm.
It does put a lot of things into perspective.
Yeah. How would you like over the last year? How has like the grief and loss changed the way you see life?
Um, it's made me really kind of almost hyper aware of how short life really is,
Hmm.
good and bad ways.
Yeah.
um, it's it's hard as well because you would think that it would pull family together, but I have expressed this to you before, but I actually feel more distant from my family now
Hmm.
than I did before. Which is
Yeah.
weird because you would think that it would really pull family together, but I don't feel like that happened. I feel it happened
No.
for a little while, and then all of a sudden it was like the tide went out and it's gone out further than it's ever gone.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's been difficult. That's been really difficult.
Yeah. I think it ties back because, again, going back to your family do struggle with communication and talking about
Yeah.
how you're feeling and things like that. And I think that your mum, your older brother, like your oldest younger
Yeah.
brother, and your mum, you're all very like, you almost don't want to burden people with
Yeah.
how you're feeling. So you all kind of staying separate, and that can
Yeah.
make things a bit more challenging.
Yeah. I think
But
therapy really helped me with that though.
mm,
Because being the eldest out of all of the siblings, I I always used to take on a "Oh, don't worry, big sister will fix it" role, you know?
mm-hmm,
And I would try and fix everything for everyone. Brothers, sister, mum, dad, like I would always be, "Don't worry, I'll do it. I'll fix it. I'll," you know?
mm-hmm,
And I think I was trying to do that whilst also trying to fix myself, and it wasn't working.
yeah,
And I think it just broke me more than I thought was even possible. And then it almost built a resentment.
mm,
Not not resentment, but do you know what I mean? Like it almost built a form of negativity towards family because I'm like, well, hold on. You're telling me that I should be there more for you, but not once have you asked me how I'm coping. Not once have you asked me how I'm doing. Not once have
yeah,
you checked in if I need anything. So why do you expect it from me
mm-hmm,
when you're not doing it for me? Do you know what I mean? And it was hard. But then going to therapy, she gave me a lot of like things to do, things to work on, And she made me realize, like, I shouldn't feel guilty for stepping away, to step back from family and say, actually, no, do you know what? You can solve your own problems for a little while because I need to solve
You got to put
mine.
yourself
You
first.
know? Yeah. I can't fix anything when I'm in a million pieces on the floor. It's just not possible.
No.
So, and that helped. I feel like I'm slowly, I'm still obviously completely shattered, but like slowly, piece by piece, I'm building myself back up again.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the classic saying of, I think it was RuPaul, if you can't help yourself, how the hell are you going to help anybody else? Or
Yeah,
something along those lines.
yeah,
But so
yeah,
you're done with therapy now, like you've done your
yeah.
sessions, you've got your workbooks and stuff like that. What does healing look like for you now?
Before therapy, I used to feel like healing was feeling better. You know, oh, I'm in a better mindset, so that means I've been healing, kind of thing. Whereas
Hmm.
now I realize, like, to me, healing is now sometimes actually feeling worse.
Yeah, I see it.
Because you have to, it's it's about confronting the things that are causing you issues.
Hmm.
Instead of trying to fix them, you have to confront them. You have to accept them, and all of the dark things, all of the dark thoughts, things that you do, say you mess up and you hurt someone, you have to accept that you done that in order to be able to forgive yourself for doing that,
Hmm.
and to then move on in a state of, I know that I done that. I know that it was wrong. I accept that it was wrong. I I forgive myself for making that mistake.
Hmm.
Now I'm going to do better and make sure that I never make that mistake again,
Yeah.
because I've looked at it. I've looked at the whole thing and I know exactly where it's gone wrong. I know where I messed up. I know what caused it. I know the triggers. It's really looking at like the dark parts of yourself, accepting those things and being like, this is a part of me. I did that. That's a part of me. How can I now make sure that never happens again? How can I make sure
Mhm.
that my mindset never goes that way, And
Yeah.
that to me is healing.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. It's not linear.
Yeah.
It's up, down, up, down. Like I say, kind of facing. It's not. You can't ignore the adversity. You can't ignore the thing that's looming over you or lurking on you. You have to
Mm.
confront it and you have to tackle it straight on. And that's the only way you get past it is by going through it.
Yeah. It's known as shadow work. If you hear
Okay.
people talking about shadow work, it's about
Hmm.
looking at the darkest parts of yourself and your mind, accepting that those dark parts are a part of you. Good and every single person is a yin and yang. They have the good parts, the light parts, and they have the bad, dark part. All Every single bits of those things make you as a person,
Right.
good and bad. Like, there is no 100% good and there's no 100% bad people. Everyone
Hmm.
has a mixture. Shadow work is all about looking at those dark parts,
Right.
really diving into it, seeing all those things that you would try and shut out because you don't want to accept the fact that you have had those thoughts or you've done that thing, or and it's like coming to terms with that. I'm not okay that I did it, but I'm now okay with understanding that that was a part of me and that is a part of me.
Hmm.
So instead of now pretending that it doesn't exist, I know that it exists, and I
Yeah.
know that I have the potential to go down that dark path, and I know where that dark path is going to lead me because I've really looked into it. So now, how can I stop myself from going anywhere near that dark path? How can I work on things that are in my light
Hmm.
that I can work towards instead of, you know,
Yeah.
it's really
Oh,
fascinating.
interesting. I have to look into that because I haven't I
Yeah.
haven't heard of that before. Shadow work.
Shadow
In-
work.
it is one of the hardest things I think for people to do is because it's like an ego hit, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
having to accept that you have flaws and there's parts of
Yeah.
you that might not be nice, might not be good, and it is taking that hit to your ego where like letting that ego part of you go to then get to the bottom of things and understand things
Like
and grow.
voice. Yeah. That little voice in your head is that kind of judges you. And you know, when you have that little voice in your head where it's like, oh, you're not good enough or blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
That's nothing but your ego. That's nothing but that negative part of your brain. That's all it is. And once you've got that in check, and once you know how to shut that voice down, you can really start to like build on yourself and work on yourself. But
Yeah.
until you know how to fight against that voice, it's so hard to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I find the best way for me to keep. I don't think I've ever really had an ego. I kind of a lot of my life I've always understated my achievements and underplayed anything good that I've kind of done. Even when it came to streaming, I never felt like I was almost like I wasn't deserving of good, quote unquote, good numbers or lots of numbers or even attention. Like I always found it not uncomfortable when people would like gift subs or donate or whatnot, but I still can never grasp my head around like I don't think I deserve this. I don't think this like an imposter syndrome. But
Yeah.
for me, like keeping an ego in check, the best way to do that is gratitude. Again, it always just goes back to gratitude and just being thankful and grateful and just like grounding yourself on
Being present in the moment. Yeah.
yeah, being present and
Yeah.
being grateful for what you have, not what you are yet to have. Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people think, "What? Oh, I deserve this. I'm owed this." You're not owed anything.
No.
You're not owed anything in life.
No, not at all.
But, but I mean, looking back, if someone is going through something dark, I mean, I guess we can kind of start to wrap things up now. We've been going for nearly
Mhm.
2 hours. If
Oh,
someone,
really?
yeah,
God damn.
it's almost like we just talk on the daily, isn't it? Yeah. if if someone's going through something dark, something similar, be it the trauma, the grief, um, the abuse, what's something you would want them to take from your story? What kind of would you want them to?
I I would say it doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, you know, every single person is deserving of happiness. They are deserving to have peace and security and love within themselves, not just outwardly. Like they deserve to love themselves. Um, and if you are in an abusive, whether that's physical, mental, coercive, anything like that, you do deserve better. You do deserve to be treated with respect and love. And it doesn't matter what they promise, it will never ever get better. It will never get better. The second they show any sign of aggression towards you or control, the second they put their hand on you, that it's time to leave. And you deserve to know that it's time to leave. You deserve to have the confidence in yourself to say, I do not deserve this,
Mhm.
and I will not let that person take anything from me. And then you
Nice.
go.
Yeah. I like it. I like it. I think it's solid advice. And then lastly, to wrap up, what is one quote or piece of advice? I know it's pretty similar to what I've just asked you, but what's a quote or a piece of advice that sticks with you that you would say to
I
anyone
would
listening?
say everything will work out in the end. You don't necessarily need to know how, but you have to trust that it will. It will get better. And from what I was saying, never let a bad situation bring out the worst in you. You've got to, be strong and
Mm-hmm.
kind of know who you are. Don't let a situation that's made you feel bad turn you into a bad person.
Mm-hmm. I like
That's
it. I like it. Don't let outside noise affect who you are inside, and
yeah.
everything
Yeah,
will get better.
don't let outside forces taint the force inside you.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, my love. Thank you very much. Has been a
Okay.
bit of a strange one being able just talking to you through a camera on a screen,
Yeah.
but uh,
Sorry for chewing your ears off,
it's,
guys.
I mean, we kind of talk about this kind of thing. We don't necessarily always deep dive like this, but we're always pretty open with how we talk and
Yeah, we're good.
communicate to each other. But
Yeah.
I hope someone can take something from your story, and I really appreciate you opening up. I know it's difficult, and I'm
Yeah.
very proud of you for how far you've come on all
Thank
journeys.
you.
You do have
There's
a
been many
mixed
journeys.
you have a mixed bag of journeys. Yeah. Like if your mental health journey was a movie, it would be The Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Oh my god, it would. That is so true.
It's just a long ass journey.
Yep. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, just know I'll always be your Samwise to your Frodo.
Oh, you're so nerdy.
Loser.
Uber.
All right, get out of here.
No.
Go dog
Okay.
sit.
Thank you
Thank
for
you very
having
much,
me.
my love. I love you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Mwah.